Hi everyone, welcome to Furi on Furier difficulty S rank walkthrough. This is the scale, the worst boss fight in the game, and for a time one of my worst nightmares of this run. Just because I don't like this boss, not because he does something incredibly bad, though the final phase of this boss fight is really atrocious. But let's keep the data first. The scale calls for 12 minutes in time, 0 KOs, and 40 hits. So if you go 41, this is an automatic A. So I want to talk about that because I made a mistake in a previous boss fight when I stated that you cannot take a single KO in any boss fight and still get an S rank. That's not entirely true. I assumed that was true, and when I shared the images are not wrong, guys. Don't think that the images are wrong. The images came from the developer itself, so the images are correct. I was wrong myself in assuming. Even though the information was staring at my fucking face, I made the mistake of claiming that it was always 0 KOs. It's not true. For example, the burst. There are only 2 bosses where you can take KOs and still get the S rank. The burst is one. The burst is the sniper chick, you know, the girl with the sniper. And I guess you can take 1 KO there. Only 1. That means 1 square. And I guess that's cool because the last phase of the burst is really hard to not die. Like so I think that that's pretty good. As a pretty good decision from the developers. And the second boss fight that you can take 2 KOs, guys. 2 KOs is the Edge. The Edge is, if you're wondering, the guy with the swords that kind of fights like you, or close to how you fight, because he in the, I think it's in the 4th phase or the 3rd phase, he's gonna actually grab a plank from the boat and attack you with the plank. So that's not actually a sword, but yeah, you can take 2 KOs from the Edge. Personally, I would have made it so that you can take only 1 KO from the Edge, because I know the Edge can be hard for some people, but I would have not given 2 KOs on the Edge. This is a personal opinion though. And I would have taken 1 KO from that fight and given it to the final boss fight, which I'm not gonna say the name so I don't spoil it, but it's the boss fight where you have the choice, you know, and you fight him or her actually, or whatever, and you fight it. And I would have given just 1 KO in that fight because the last phases of that fight are really bad. So yeah. But whatever. Actually, if you want to know, in that fight, in the final boss fight, you can't take any KOs. It's 0 KOs in that boss fight for the S rank. So that's really bad. But yeah, I guess the developers thought that the Edge will be the most difficult boss fight in the game, and I don't agree with that. I think that one of the hardest for S ranking is probably the burst, though I say that only taking into account the last phase, which is pretty crazy, but the burst can be pretty bad in Furier. And I guess the Edge is a little difficult, but not the worst. Still, oh, I almost say the name. Well, the final boss is pretty much one of the hardest, and it might be my personal hardest. Not really, like it's not a statement for everyone. It might be my personal hardest because I just hate bullet hells. I really don't enjoy that much the bullet hell phases. I enjoy more like the phases where you are parrying, where you are blocking, and when you are doing the normal boss fights and not actually surviving a bullet hell. I don't actually enjoy that as much. That's why I fucking hate the burst too. And that's why my personal favorite boss fight is coming right after this one. It's called Hand. It's a guy with a sword and a shield, and even on Furier he's pretty good. He has a little more that attacks, but they're not actually bullet hells. It's actually him just adding some waves and some different patterns, because that is what this game does. I haven't explained it because I think I already explained it on my Furi walkthrough, which you can check out. But I'll explain it here. The difference between Furi and Furier is not only that you take more damage from the bosses and that you maybe dish out less damage to them. It's actually that the bosses' patterns change. They add like one more wave in some attack, or they add an extra attack in some move or some phase, and you have to kind of relearn the fight. And I really like that, like moving from Furi to Furier. It felt like I have to relearn the fight. You cannot really just, with the knowledge that you had on the boss fight in Furi, just move out to Furier and it's just a little harder, but nothing else. Not at all. You have to relearn the boss fights, and I think that's really cool because it gives you a lot more replayability of the game, and it's generally really cool. I mean, I said it before that I missed boss rush modes, and this is basically a boss rush game. So yeah, there is a lot of this game that I love, and there's really little that I hate. And this is one of the things that I hate, though. This boss fight. This boss fight is atrocious. And as I said before, it's mostly because of the last phase. And we're gonna enter it in just a minute when we finish this close quarter battle. When he's doing all melee attacks, mostly. So the last phase is only made atrocious by one special attack that is going to do. That I'm actually going to miss it. But I'm going to tell you that you shouldn't miss it. So, as I stated before, I'm not going for perfect runs. I'm going for I did it runs, right? Because I think that can help you much more than perfect runs when I do things really good. If you want more perfection, I would say, or better gameplay, again, as I mentioned before, I would suggest go and watch Seraphine17. He's far better at this game than I am. So go watch him. But this is the thing, see those bullets that just fly out of the screen? If you parry one of them, you're going to have like less squares on screen and much more room to dodge these waves. And that is really crucial, guys. That is really crucial to survive this phase. But I survived it anyway. As you saw, I kinda was teleporting from the base of one explosion to the other. So that can be another strategy to survive that if you miss it like I do. But honestly, parry the bullets, guys. Really, just parry the bullets.